Unpacked MWC V15 Pro shootout, so much happening. We're almost starting to panic here at the Sale Guru Show because while we really pride ourselves in making sure that everything that happens across the world in the world of mobile phones is brought to you at the speed of light, now, seriously speaking, we're panicking. So, we've just had the Samsung Unpacked event. We're about to get started with the Mobile World Congress, a launch out here that has really shocked up people because it's the Vivo V15 Pro. And then we've got a shootout that all of you have been asking for. So, lots happening. We'll try and calm ourselves. Let me do a little bit of a zen. Let's get started with the show. No panic, no panic.
Celebrating 10 years of Samsung's Galaxy, the company launched the next Galaxy in tow, the S10 and S10 Plus, and even brought the world's first foldable phone. We take a detailed look at these. Vivo has brought its new Vivo V15 Pro with a triple camera setup and a pop-up selfie camera. Priced pretty aggressively, is this the phone to reckon with in the mid-segment? We find out. We pit two Chinese giants that come together with phones with similar specs. This is the battle between the new Oppo K1 and the Vivo V11 Pro, and we tell you which one is worth getting your hands on. The largest mobile show, the Mobile World Congress, is around the corner, and we round up some of the biggest expectations from this year's show.
And now, of course, let's move on to the event that really blew everybody's mind, because I think it is now a window to the future. So first and foremost, let me tell you, a lot of people were very surprised that Samsung did an Unpacked event just days before the Mobile World Congress. Now, obviously, Samsung's there at the MWC also. So why did they do it? Well, they've been known to do it before, but this time, this was a huge event. And I think the reason is that they were trying to preempt the headlines. What happens at the MWC in Barcelona, lots of great headlines. The entire world is focused out there, but every time you do something, like if Samsung had actually showcased what they did out there at MWC, they'd get the headline for a very short period of time, and then some other company would actually take over. So this is why we believe Samsung did this, and boy, were they right. Take a look at what all they've showcased.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Unpacked. With the Galaxy Fold, we're creating a new dimension for your phone and your life.
We reinvented this display from the ground up and launched a whole new smartphone category.
At Samsung, our vision for the next generation begins with what's right before our eyes.
We at Verizon are super excited to bring this 5G phone to the market, and just stay tuned, because soon it can be in the hands of you when we launch this together with Samsung. Thank you very much.
The next era of mobile innovation, even more amazing than the first. Thank you.
And I think it did make sense, this strategy, because look at what all's happened. So, of course, as predicted, there was a foldable phone. As predicted, there's the S10 and, of course, its variations and a whole lot more. Now, I'm going to talk to you about one particular thing, and that, of course, is the foldable phone. The S10 we'll take a look at, obviously. The foldable phone now starts the era of where design and style will become a completely different criteria. Once you can bend and roll the screen, you can have any form factor, and that's exactly how Samsung has started things off. Take a look.
Open and fold. Turn the phone into a tablet and the tablet into a laptop screen, and so on and so forth. Well, we are exaggerating, but let's be frank. A foldable phone was a thing of quirky imagination or a marketing stunt. Well, the future is here. Lo and behold, the Samsung Galaxy Fold is here. And we bet your current smartphone is already feeling like a dinosaur. The Samsung Galaxy Fold has ushered in a completely new mobile category with its massive 7.3-inch Infinity Flex display, which folds into a compact device with a cover display. In fact, there are two batteries so that the Fold fits neatly into your hands. While the company barely offered a glimpse of the Fold at its Unpacked event in San Francisco, we hear this gadget will cost you nearly $2,000. 12GB RAM, a 4380 mAh battery, 6 camera lenses, 3 in the back, 2 on the inside and 1 on the cover are some of the other jaw-dropping highlights of this unfolding reality. We hear this one will be available later in 2019. And the new stars of Samsung's Galaxy have been unpacked, the S10, S10 Plus and the S10e, which is pitched as a budget option. And another showstopper is Samsung's brand new 5G smartphone, which comes with 5G capabilities like 4K calling and blazing fast downloads. Most of the new phones have plenty of innovation in common: an edge-to-edge screen with teeny tiny bezels, the ability to wirelessly charge another device, a stunning Infinity O display, the world's first ultrasonic in-screen fingerprint reader, which unlocks the Galaxy S10 using sound waves, a whopping 1 TB of storage, and of course Android 9 Pie out of the box. What makes the S10e cheaper is its flat screen and lack of in-display fingerprint scanner. This one has a scanner located near the power button. Coming to some specs, the S10 and S10 Plus come with a triple rear camera setup, a 16-megapixel ultra-wide sensor with fixed focus, a 12-megapixel dual aperture wide-angle lens and a 12-megapixel telephoto lens. That means you're able to take portrait photos and photos from any of the sensors just by toggling on the screen. The S10 5G even gets 4 rear cameras with a 4th lens for 3D depth. All phones are powered by Qualcomm's brand new Snapdragon 855 chipset, making them faster, smoother and more battery efficient. The S10 comes with 3400 mAh battery, the S10 Plus with 4100 mAh, the S10e with 3100 mAh and the S10 5G with a massive 4500 mAh battery. While the S10 starts at around $900, the S10 Plus will be available for around $1,000 and the S10 5G for more than $1,000. The S10e will be priced at around $750, and the highly anticipated foldable phone will make you gasp at its price too, nearly $2,000. That is roughly 1.4 lakh rupees. We also got a glimpse at some new wearables, the Galaxy Buds for around $130 and the Samsung Galaxy Watch Active, which is priced at around $200. We'll be bringing you a full hands-on review of all the new Samsung goodies on Cell Guru soon. For now, Samsung scores high on both price and innovation with its new stars in the Galaxy, and the future is unfolding before our eyes.
And now, of course, let's move on to this, our next top story, Vivo once again. And we have been saying that this is a company that is taking innovation very seriously. The last 5 or 6 phones they've come out with, even at the higher order in terms of the chain and value of the phone, have been very, very innovative. Others are doing a big catch-up to Vivo. And once again, that gets proven because at this price point for the Vivo V15 Pro, they have absolutely and totally done a slam dunk. So what all does it have? Even before I take it out, I want to tell you about it. So the first thing that you're going to really see that is very interesting with this phone are a triple camera setup at the back. Now this, I think, is a very interesting thing to do in the V series. If this was the next series, I would understand. But in the V series, this is a game changer. Then, of course, is the kind of optics they've put in. 48 megapixel at the back, and then the pop-out camera, which I'm just going to show you right now. There, it pops out and then pops back in. Now again, in the V series, to bring in something which was their flagship level feature, I think is great. And then the front camera is 32 megapixel. Now once again, of course, the megapixel is not such a big deal. Everything else they've put in, of course, is. So 48 megapixel at the back, 32 megapixel front, obviously the in-display fingerprint scanner, very nice. The bezel has been reduced even further. The battery life is great. Let's take a look at our review. Like I said, at this price point, this is Vivo really getting aggressive.
A triple rear camera with AI prowess, an in-display fingerprint sensor, a processor which rarely disappoints, and the pop-up star of the show, a 32-megapixel pop-up selfie camera. You may expect all this in a phone above 40,000 rupees and call it a great buy. But this phone, the Vivo V15 Pro, is offering all this for much lesser. Here is our review. We've pretty much seen all different kinds of blue, but this topaz blue variant looks very attractive too. No notch on this big screen thanks to the pop-up selfie camera, more on that later. The design is sleek and premium, the in-display fingerprint scanner works well and unlocks pretty fast. The phone is comfortable to hold in one hand and there is a 3.5mm audio jack on top as well. There is a 6.39-inch Full HD Plus screen which is vivid and watching videos is a delight. The vibrant display stands out even in daylight. Powering this blue beauty is Qualcomm's all-new Snapdragon 675 chipset, which provides quite a decent experience, though it isn't a top-of-the-line processor. We tried gaming and multitasking and had no complaints. The phone is paired with 6GB RAM and 128GB of internal storage.
675 brings quite a few of the firsts, which I'm very glad to say here. It brings the Cryo 4th generation CPU, which was probably the first time we are bringing it here at a 600 series. So what does a consumer get? Not going into the jargons of the 4th generation Cryo CPU or the 6th generation, the most advanced Adreno GPU. What we want to say, if it translates for the consumer, it means three things. It means that if the consumer is a gaming consumer, they're going to see a total Uber experience coming out of it. In terms of camera, it would probably exemplify the experiences of camera, and some of them you saw today on V15 Pro that are derived riding on the heart and the optimization that we have done on V15 Pro. And of course the AI.
The Vivo V15 Pro runs FunTouch OS 9 on top of Android 9 Pie, so that's the most recent Android update at under 30,000 rupees. Vivo deserves a pat on the back for this, but we have to admit that FunTouch OS takes a while to get accustomed to, since despite Android 9, the experience here isn't that of an Android phone, which may be a deal breaker for many. There are plenty of preloaded apps as well, so that leads to bloatware. The phone comes with a rather underwhelming 3700 mAh battery, which may not impress those of us for whom 4000 mAh is the new normal. While it lasted us a day of decent usage, gaming causes the battery to drain much faster. Pop goes the selfie. Yes, the Popstar is a 32-megapixel selfie camera which offers decent images, though a little whitewashed. Let's just say you look like a porcelain beauty no matter what you do. I clicked plenty of selfies and they all made me look as flawless as possible. The pop-up mechanism works pretty fast and may be better than the Vivo Nex. On the back, you get a triple rear AI camera, a 5-megapixel depth sensing camera, an 8-megapixel wide angle, and a 48-megapixel primary sensor. The Sony sensor on the primary camera gives very detailed shots outdoors. The AI engine works well, and most images have great color and detail because of the triple camera setup. And now, drum roll please, because price is what makes this Vivo a pop star. The Vivo V15 Pro is priced at Rs 28,990 for 6GB RAM. Let's find out a little more from the company.
When we launched the Vivo Nex globally and in India, the pop-up camera got rave reviews. With the V15 Pro, we were thinking, what's that one feature which our consumers really want? And all of them said pop-up camera is an innovation, is something we really want in our phones. With the V series, that's what we've done. Whether it's the V9, the V11 Pro, and even now the V15 Pro. We wanted one thing, which is to surprise our consumers both with the product as well as the whole proposition. And with that 28,990, I think the proposition is very sweet for our consumers.
The Cell Guru verdict. The Vivo V15 Pro wins our hearts with its gorgeous display, which is great for content consumption. Its camera setup will impress you, especially if you like flawless images for social media. The price makes the phone pretty attractive for a wider audience, and the pop-up selfie camera is an innovation that will appeal to many millennials.
Now here's a shootout that I'm really interested in doing. This is the Oppo K1. Like we have been saying, at this price point right now, if that's your budget, 16,000 rupees, there isn't really any competition. But what if you had another 5,000 rupees? Is there competition there? So we decided to do something very interesting. We took the Vivo V11 Pro. Now that's a more expensive phone. The price has dropped a little, but even now it's still far more expensive than the Oppo K1. So we took that phone. This is an unusual shootout because usually we'd either go with a very similar price point or something which is just around the corner, but this has a discernible difference. So it's the Oppo K1 versus the much more expensive Vivo V11 Pro.
Vivo has made a splash with a pop-up camera on the V15 Pro, but not so long back, the Vivo V11 Pro had stood out for its unique design and what was then a very new feature, the in-display fingerprint scanner. Oppo's recent K1 compelled us to put the two phones together. With similar features like the in-display fingerprint scanner and a similar design language, how do they fare when pitted against each other? Let's find out. Well, in terms of design, the phones seem to be two peas in a pod. The Vivo V11 Pro, although launched quite a few months back before the Oppo K1, has a gradient design on an all-glass back along with a water drop notch in the front. The Oppo K1 follows the same trend with a gradient design, but the finish does not feel as premium as the Vivo V11 Pro. The screen size on the two phones is very similar, but the Oppo K1 comes with an AMOLED screen, while the Vivo V11 Pro calls the display a Halo Full View display. That can probably be attributed to the water drop notch on the front. The display on the Oppo K1 is remarkable and the colors are quite sharp. Even in terms of performance, the two phones sport the same Snapdragon 660 chipset. So where does the real difference lie? Well, the price tag differentiates these phones. The Oppo K1 is priced at 16,990 rupees for the 4GB RAM variant, while the Vivo V11 Pro is priced at 23,990 rupees for the 6GB RAM variant. But does the 7,000 rupee difference tip the scales towards the Oppo K1? Let's see what else these phones pack in. In terms of juice, the Oppo K1 is likely to last you longer with a 3600 mAh battery. The Vivo V11 Pro lags a little behind with a 3400 mAh battery. Coming to the optics, the Oppo K1 has a dual rear camera with a 16 and 2 megapixel lens, while the Vivo V11 Pro has a 12 and 5 megapixel lens. Images shot on the new Oppo K1 were refreshingly better. The colors were not overly saturated and the depth was also pretty good. The front camera on the two phones is exactly the same, a 25 megapixel lens. When the Vivo V11 Pro was launched, this was one of the highlights of the phone, but is now clearly seen on slightly cheaper phones as well. The in-display fingerprint scanner on the two phones works well and is pretty fast. The UI is slightly different on the two phones owing to the different skins they have. The Oppo K1 comes with ColorOS 5.2 while the Vivo V11 Pro comes with the FunTouch OS skin. ColorOS brings some new features, but the FunTouch OS is more clutter-free. The Cell Guru verdict. The Vivo V11 Pro was the most innovative phone when it had launched with an in-display fingerprint scanner. And it was one of the most economical phones to bring this feature. But this crown jewel has been taken by the Oppo K1, and both in terms of price and performance, the Oppo K1 excels. With a good battery life and optics, it emerges as the winner in this shootout.
On the Cell Guru Show, let's take a quick break. When we come back, lots more. And now, of course, for the big one, that's why we saved the best for last, the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, Spain, the absolute flagship, true state-of-the-art mobility event in every which way. You will know exactly what's going to happen if you're at the Mobile World Congress with us. So here's a very, very quick look at what we expect from the MWC this year.
The biggest mobile show in the world is all set to take center stage in Barcelona next week, and here are some of the big things expected at Mobile World Congress 2019. We already know about Samsung's power-packed punch a week before Mobile World Congress, but it remains to be seen if we will get a hands-on with the foldable phone and the Galaxy S10 at MWC this year. Sony Xperia XZ4 is expected to be launched at MWC this year. Not much is known about the phone right now, but it is said it won't have any bezels and won't have a notch either. 5G is going to be the hot topic at MWC this year, and LG is all set to launch its first 5G phone. But will this be the LG G8 or the next phone in the ThinkU lineup? That remains to be seen. Huawei is also rumored to make some big announcements at MWC, and word has it that the company also might bring a foldable 5G phone to the table. Big brands are set to make heads turn, and Motorola might bring its famous Razr series back with a foldable Moto Razr V4. Nokia stole headlines from MWC some years back and filled MWC with some nostalgia as well. This year, they are expected to launch new Nokia phones and might just bring the Nokia 9 to MWC. Other brands like Qualcomm, Ericsson and even MediaTek will make a big presence at MWC this year, with 5G-enabled chipsets and technologies to offer. We'll be headed to Barcelona next week for detailed coverage from the biggest mobile show, the Mobile World Congress 2019.
That then, of course, was the Cell Guru Show for the week. But do remember, whatever else you're doing, look, if you're getting married, you're getting divorced, whatever you're doing in the next week, cancel it. Because all you have to do is have a date with me. It's the Mobile World Congress. It doesn't get bigger than this. Obviously, don't do anything else. See you next week.